Hi, I'm Megan Price, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download in the Apple and Google Play Store. Also, check out the Inscriber magazine where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. But let's jump right into the show. We have our first rep, Jordan Long, covering the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Megan.
How are you?
I'm good. It's getting a little colder here in Colorado. We need it though. We need snow, so I'm all right with it.
Did y'all get some snow this week or no?
We're supposed to get some later on this week. I just hope the mountains get it. That's the most
Right.
important.
Yeah, it's been pretty dry and warm here too. It's a little colder, but we haven't had any moisture yet. So, but let's start off with Phoenix. You guys were able to surpass the franchise record as far as game win streak, and you stretched that to 18 wins, and then ended up losing to Golden State on Friday. So let's talk about the game on Tuesday where you guys pulled out the win. It was 104-96.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. We actually didn't let Steph Curry go off. We know he's one of the best shooters in the game. Didn't happen. I mean, he had about 14 points, and then, Jordan Powell was their leading scorer. So we did a pretty good job. We lost Devin Booker a few minutes into that game with a hamstring injury. He's been out, but we played as a team, and I knew they would feed from that energy from the home crowd. That's what you wanted. We needed that to actually tie the record.
Right.
And you couldn't ask for a better effort against the Warriors, especially since we're going against them to be the number one seed.
Absolutely. And then you guys followed up for the 18th win, and you played Detroit on Thursday, and you were able to win 114-103. Any thoughts on that game?
I was a little disappointed about what we did in that second half a little bit. We went into halftime up 69-51. We were lucky we won 104, 103. But, I mean, you're cutting the lead. I think the Pistons got it within 6. You
Hmm.
can't have that. And I think we just saw how much we missed Devin Booker in that game.
Right.
Luckily, we came out with the win, and that's all that matters. We beat the franchise record with our 18th straight victory, and that's all you could ask for, especially in the home crowd.
Absolutely. Now, you guys ended up snapping the streak on Friday against Golden State. Um, Now, and it's kind of what you predicted happening. That you were hoping that you guys would be able to break the record against Detroit and then follow up and play Golden State. And it's not likely that really any team in the league would be able to beat Golden State 2 games in a close back to back, not quite back to back, but close 1 week series there. And then so. What were your thoughts on that? I mean, I know it kind of went basically how you expected.
It really did. The Warriors, I knew they were going to feed from their home crowd. Steph Curry got into it. I mean, it just happens. We knew this winning streak would end at some point. I was hoping we'd beat the Warriors, but it didn't happen. But if you look at the rebounding, that was the key to the game. We couldn't rebound, and I know Devin Booker was out, and maybe that could have had a little tiny effect. But the fact of the matter is you got out rebounded 51-38. The boards just killed us, but good for Golden State. We know this is not our goal is to have an 18 or 19 game winning streak. It would have been 19. We want the championship this year. So I
Right.
just hope that they can take this momentum into the 18 game winning streak to the rest of the season.
And then so tonight you face my team, the San Antonio Spurs, at 9 Eastern. Then Friday you play the Celtics at 10 Eastern, and then Monday you finish out your week playing at the Clippers at 10:30 Eastern. What are your thoughts on the game for tonight?
Well, we've talked about it on the show is that the Spurs aren't the Spurs of old. They still have Popovich, but you still have to defend. You have to rebound in this league. I know there were a couple of games last year against you guys where our starters didn't have the best start. Our bench actually got outplayed by the starters. So, I mean, you guys still have shooters. We just have to defend. Boston's going to be tough. And of course, you just mentioned with the Clippers, that's probably going to be the toughest game because of what they bring to the table.
And it seems like Boston is holding it together. They're maintaining playoff position at this point, which is a little better than I predicted. I felt like they were having a lot of locker room issues and some issues with their big three. But they're still winning games and they're still staying valid. With San Antonio, we're a different team than we were last year. We don't have DeMar, we don't have Rudy Gay, we don't have Patty Mills. So I'm interested to see how we match up with you guys. And we are currently on a 4-game win streak. 4 games, yes, 4-game win streak. I know it's not 18, but for us who are struggling this year, that feels pretty good. And so I think we're going with some good momentum and going into this game. Now, you guys are short Devin Booker, so we might still be able to have a chance as far as keeping it competitive, but I do anticipate you guys winning that game.
I do too. I mean, we're definitely the more talented roster, but I will say the only guy you have that we don't have, don't get me wrong, Monty Williams is a great coach. You have a Hall of Famer coach in Greg Popovich.
Absolutely. And I do think the Clippers are going to be a tough game. They're kind of like the Celtics to me over in the West. Like, they've had some issues. They have some injury problems, but I mean, they're still winning some games and they're still keeping that validity there. So, good luck on those games. And let's slide over to the Denver Nuggets. They are 7th in the West, and they're sitting at 500 right now, 11-11. Monday, they won against Miami, 120-111. And we saw Joker have a big night. He had 24 points. Gordon also had 20 points. So it looked more like a team effort there.
It really did. And we didn't let them back into the game. I mean, we came out with a 120-111 victory. Joker, I should say, we know what kind of center he is. He needs to be in there. We saw last week when he was hurt with a wrist injury what that meant to the team. That put pressure on Gordon and Will Barton to carry the load. They can't do it. So 24 points and 15 rebounds for him. And then if you look at the Miami Heat, we didn't let them go off. Their starters didn't do a whole lot. Yeah, but Adebayo had 24 points and Lowry had 17. That's it. No one else got hot for them. So that was a big.
And we didn't see Jimmy Butler in that game. I'm not sure why. I didn't know if he was injured or if it was a day off for him. And then you guys followed up. You actually lost to the Magic, 108-103. Monte Morris was your top scorer. He had 22 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. So it looked like he had a great production night, but the rest of the team struggled.
Well, Jokic still had 18 points and 14 rebounds. Gordon had 17 points. But what really made me a little upset is they actually had a chance to tie that game and send it into overtime. But for whatever reason, Will Barton was double covered, threw up a 3, and it just looked like it was a mess from the start. The Nuggets didn't have any more timeouts. I would have liked to see Mike Malone drop a better play, but that's how it goes sometimes in the NBA.
Absolutely. And then you guys finished out your week with a win against the Knicks, 113-99. And Joker went off in this game. He had 32 points, 5 assists, 11 rebounds. A typical Joker performance. So I think it gets kind of muddled because we're so used to him putting up these type of numbers. But great performance against the Knicks, who are a very interesting team and very competitive team right now over in the East. As we know, the East is much more competitive this season. They have more teams above 500 than the West. And I think that's the first time in probably 20 years that that's happened.
That's certainly true. And, the Knicks, they're an interesting team. They do have starters. Julius Randle only had 24, but no other starters got going. Their bench only had 32. We limited them. Really, that was the key, was limiting them to 39.8% from the field. And that's how you win ball games. If you give up 39.8%, you're going to win most of those games.
Absolutely. Now, you do have a busy week, but I don't know that it's going to be exactly a tough week. Your toughest game for the Nuggets is going to be tonight against the Bulls, but the Bulls are going to be without DeMar DeRozan, who has been placed on the COVID list. On Wednesday, you play the Pelicans, and then speaking of the Spurs, you'll have a back-to-back Thursday and Saturday at 8:30 Eastern. Thoughts on those games?
Well, I definitely think you're right. The Bulls are the toughest games because they still have Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. Wednesday against the Pelicans, with no Zion Williamson, no big deal. And then, of course, we just talked about the Spurs. You guys are an up-and-down team. You guys are on a 4-game winning streak, but you have Greg Popovich. So back-to-backs against the same teams are just weird to me because you can be victorious in one game and then look bad the second. I don't know if I really like the NBA doing the back-to-back with the same teams.
And they are both in San Antonio, those games. So, definitely we do pack the stadium there at times. So, and have a lot of dedicated fans. And there is a little bit of a rivalry between Denver and San Antonio since you guys knocked us out of the playoffs 3 years ago. So, good luck on those games. I hope we catch one of them. And let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
You can find me on the NFL Carousel on Thursday nights. You can obviously find me here on the NBA Carousel on Mondays doing the Suns as well or the Nuggets. You can find me on Twitter at @SportsScoop1 and read my blog that I read Mondays through Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Will Vogel covering the Charlotte Hornets. Hi, Will.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I know you guys kind of had a tough week, but you were able to finish it out with a win. Charlotte Hornets are 6th in the East right now. You're 14-11. So you're gonna have weeks where you have tough weeks like that. And when you play the Bulls, the Bucks, and ATL, that's a tough lineup. So Monday, you guys lost to the Bulls 133-119. But we saw Terry Rozier have an excellent performance with 31 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it was a good game for Terry. 31 points, like you said. Also, LaMelo Ball had a double-double, and Gordon Hayward had 22 points. But what killed us is that the Bulls' field goal percentage was 59.6%. Their three-point percentage was 46.7. So you can't let those numbers happen. And the Bulls are a really, really good team.
They absolutely are a really good team this year. And then you followed up on Wednesday. You lost to the Bucks, but it was a really close game. It was 127-125, and we saw LaMelo have a great performance.
Yeah, LaMelo had a great game. I think he set his career high, if I'm not wrong, in points, which is awesome. Bridges had 22 points. And the crazy thing is, like you said, we only lost by 2, but I looked at the game stats at the end of the game, and it's crazy because after the game, we led in field goal percentage, we led in three-point field goal percentage, we led in free throw percentage, assists, and blocks. So
it was just that last shot that got y'all.
It's the last play of the game that's what killed us.
But you know what? Against the defending champs, that's a really great performance.
A really great performance.
Right. And then you guys pulled out a win yesterday against ATL, another good team that is moving up in the rankings in the East. Y'all won 130-127. And you did this without LaMelo. He didn't play yesterday. We saw Bridges and Oubre have good numbers. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, we did it without LaMelo, Terry Mason, Plumlee, Jalen McDaniels, because they all entered the COVID-19 NBA health and safety protocol. So hopefully it won't be long that they're out, maybe a few games, nothing major. But like you said, like Bridges has done all year, Bridges has expanded his game from only being known as a dunker to actually having a jump shot and playing well. He had 32 points, and Oubre Jr. had 32 points. And then PJ Washington had a double-double off the bench. And I think personally Oubre Jr. was the most underrated signing in the offseason. That was a huge addition to our team. Yeah,
absolutely agree. And, we have to shout out Bridges. He got high praise from Steph Curry last week whenever you guys were able to get the win, or the week before, saying that Bridges, if he didn't play another game the rest of the season, he should still make all defense. So coming from someone like Steph Curry, we know that is
that's high praise.
Absolutely high praise. So you guys play the Sixers tonight, and that game has just got underway, or is it about at halftime?
I think it's past halftime. Let me see what the score is.
And then Wednesday, you play another back-to-back with the Sixers, and then Friday you play the Kings, and these are all home games.
Yes. So last time I checked, we were down against the Sixers by 5 at halftime, which is pretty good actually.
Right.
Without LaMelo and Terry. And then again, we played the Sixers. So I think we can win one of these games for sure.
Okay.
If we can limit Embiid and Tobias Harris and Seth Curry. And then
Right.
I am going to the Kings game on Friday. So
That's
hopefully,
exciting.
yeah, I didn't go to the Timberwolves game. I ended up not going. But yeah, it's going to be hard without Terry and LaMelo. But I think the team has bonded together and relied on good play by Gordon Hayward, Bridges, Oubre. I think they're going to come together and be okay without those guys. I
And
don't think they've missed a step, really.
It's something that all of our teams are going to end up going through it. We went through it last season where we missed 5 games because we had like 9 people on the COVID list. So there just wasn't enough for us to be able to play. So at least y'all are still able to show up, play the games, and, pulled out a win without them. So that's awesome. Good luck on your games this week, and let everyone know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
So you guys can find me on the NBA Carousel here on Monday nights. You can find me on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price, and you can also find me on the Gauntlet, sometimes hosted by James Tatum.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Will. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next representative. We have Brian Snow covering the San Antonio Spurs. Hi, Brian.
I get to hang out with the Queen of Hoop. I'm happy. My night's made. How you doing, Megan?
I'm doing really well. So it's been an awesome week for the Spurs. I got to say
that it has.
It was a rough start for the season, and even though we still have to take it one game at a time, it feels really good going on a 4-game win streak. And one of those games being we beat Golden State.
And it was in San Francisco. That's big for a young Spurs team that's finally, and you and I talked about this not only here on the NBA Carousel, but we talked about it on Snowman in the Morning. The Spurs needed to find their rhythm. That's the key word that we've used all the time. They needed to find their rhythm. And defensively in San Francisco, they found their rhythm because they led by 15 at the end of 1, by 9 at the end of 2, 11 at the end of 3. But of course, Steph and the Warriors were going to make that run in the final period. They outscored the Spurs by 6, but those 13 points were enough to get the Spurs a 5-point win. 112-107 was the final. And the person that we both said needed to take control has. DeJounte Murray, who was a nominee for NBA Western Conference Player of the Week.
Absolutely. I definitely think that I definitely think he's making a case for most improved player in the league. And so we'll see how that goes. But also what I saw out of these wins was I saw Derek White and Lonnie Walker, some of our guys that Lonnie's still playing for a contract, trying to get his contract negotiation situated. Derek and Lonnie both have the ability to go kind of streaky, but we've seen them be able to play like this before, so we know what they're capable of. In those games, we saw them have 21 points, 24 points, 25 points. Like, it was a great team effort. And then we saw the supporting cast and Thaddeus Young and McDermott having excellent points as well coming off of the bench. So Monday on the win against the Wizards, it was a blowout, 116-99. Yep. Derek White had 24 points. Then Thursday against Portland, another blowout, 114-83. And we saw Bryn Forbes be the top performer that night with 18 points. So
Bryn Forbes is going to be huge for y'all. And Bryn Forbes is going to be huge for the Spurs, either as a sixth man or as a spot starter. But one player that you mentioned, aside of DeJounte Murray, is Lonnie Walker. I'll point to Saturday night in San Francisco when the Warriors had 2 shots to get the lead. The last shot at 108-106, they got a bad shot, and then Lonnie Walker got a big bucket to extend the lead. Both times the Warriors had a chance to get the lead, Lonnie Walker quieted the crowd and got big buckets to extend the lead.
And then this week is going to be super busy. We have the Suns tonight. That game is just got underway. Tuesday, we have the Knicks at 8:30 Eastern. Thursday, we have the Nuggets. Saturday, we have the Nuggets in a back-to-back. And then Sunday, we have the Pelicans. Obviously, the Pelicans is probably the most winnable game at this moment. What are your thoughts on the schedule for this week?
With the way the Spurs are playing right now, even given the fact that they're facing one of the league leaders in the Phoenix Suns, I think the Spurs can sweep the week. It depends on how they come out tonight in Phoenix, Arizona. If you allow Phoenix, and we've seen them play defense, if you allow them to clamp down on you, then you're not going to get many, many good shots, because Phoenix loves to play that box and one defense. Just ask Steph Curry and the Warriors last Tuesday night in Phoenix, Arizona. If you get off to a hot start, if DeJounte Murray is able to get the Spurs off to a hot start, then they can run away from Phoenix.
Absolutely. I do think the Knicks will be a good game because they bring the defense, and so do we. So I'm excited for that matchup. And then speaking of the Suns, that's our only away game. All the rest of these are going to be a home stand. So we've got the Nuggets back to back. I think at least one of those is completely winnable. You know, in back-to-backs, it's kind of like divisional games in the NFL. You usually split with your divisional opponents. And then Sunday, the Pelicans, you know, they're going through some woes too. They've had some injury issues. They've had a change in their coaching staff. So, you know, they're kind of going through some things. And I think that's going to be a winnable game for us. Now, Pop, the big news, I think, after this little win streak that we've been on, Pop is only 18 games away from getting the all-time wins record. I really feel like I was concerned before we went on this little win streak that maybe he wouldn't get it this season because, you know, we were 4 games and 13 losses at the time. And then now we've turned it around and we're 8 wins and 13 losses. So I'm thinking he will get it this season, but definitely don't want to jinx it. Knock on some wood.
No, don't want to jinx it, but you know me, you've been on my show. I'll go ahead and put it out there. I say he gets it by the All-Star break, if not earlier.
And I do think that San Antonio has turned the page, that they're going to they have found that rhythm and what works for them. Hopefully we make a play for something big come the trade deadline after the All-Star break. We don't normally do that. And when I say something big, I don't know if it's how big it's really going to be, because that's just not what we really do. But it would be nice to pull in another mid-level star and give DeJounte just a little more help over there.
And something I said earlier in the season here on the Carousel, what are the Spurs doing more often? Sharing the basketball.
Absolutely.
Look at their assist totals. In their last 4 games, they've averaged 28 assists in each game. Saturday, I believe 31 was the magic number. So the assist total, just like Phoenix, just like Golden State, is going to be huge for San Antonio going forward, because that's a staple of Popovich. You got to share the basketball, and you got to share the ball often. They play great defense on Saturday, but they also share the basketball.
Absolutely. Now, like you just said, defense is very important, but so is ball movement. We've always been systematic ball, and that's just what we're going to continue with. Brian, thank you so much for coming on this week, and good luck on your games this week. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Hey, Snowman in the Morning is in your ears every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The midday sports extravaganza with the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold hard facts. Follow the show at official SIT Morn and subscribe on YouTube. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up the Monday night game, and we'll sneak in a little NBA as well. And I thank you, Oquita Hoop, for having me this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Tyler Ingram covering the Chicago Bulls. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So we heard some rough news. DeMar's on the COVID list.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's such a bummer.
Especially how he's been playing. I mean, I know Steph Curry's the MVP, but like DeMar DeRozan's playing like a candidate all season. Yeah. He has the most fourth quarter points in the entire league right now. He has 178 points in the fourth quarter. This is Mr. Fourth Quarter right now.
Hey, Jen. So we have you guys had a rough week last